It's time for the Writer's Block, our weekly look at all things sports. I'm Jenni Carlson here in the studios at the Oklahoman, joined by Cedric Golden in the, well, not the studios of the Austin American-Statesman, but somewhere in Central Texas, right?
I'm at the house today, Jen. I hope that's okay.
Fine by me, as long as we got you here. That's all that matters. Well, we're talking about the two big sports stories of the week, and there's really only two, and they're gigantic. So we're just going to focus on those this week, folks. And first, starting out, the death of Kobe Bryant. My friend, this was obviously a huge shock to all of us. Only 41, one of 9 passengers in a helicopter that went down last weekend on Sunday afternoon out in the LA area. Cedric, I mean, we've had a few days to start to digest this. What stands out to you about what you've thought about, what you've felt in sort of these days afterwards? What's really stood out to you about this?
First of all, I was more emotionally affected than I thought I'd be. And I think part of it is the kids on the helicopter. So it kind of messed me up. So the second part, Jen, would be the effect it had on these kids in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Trae Young and Kyrie Irving and guys like that, they were heartbroken. And so it occurred to me that when I was growing up, Dr. J was the guy.
Yeah.
And then Magic and Larry came along. And then Michael Jordan came along. And then Shaq and Kobe. This guy was their Michael Jordan.
Absolutely.
He was their Shaq. He was their Dr. J. And so to me, to see them heartbroken, and then all the tributes, the changing of the jersey numbers, Kyrie Irving going home, he couldn't play. It resonated with me. He was much bigger than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think it's interesting that we've talked about, it's sort of 2 generations of NBA players. You've got, guys like LeBron, Chris Paul here in Oklahoma City, some guys that have been in the league, quite a while, and their careers overlapped with Kobe. It's not to say that these younger guys didn't, but you've got guys that, played maybe a decade or more in the NBA with Kobe, and, they came into their greatness, their all-star years, their, becoming league leaders, whether that was in the NBA Players Association or whatever. They came into those roles at a time when Kobe was still in the league. So he's more friend, contemporary, that sort of thing. So, you saw Chris Paul, he sat out Monday night's game. We saw obviously the Lakers with LeBron and those guys cancel a Tuesday game. I think we've seen it affect that older generation of NBA players as losing a friend, a guy that they knew well. And then, like you mentioned, Cedric, it's been the younger guys that saw Kobe as their Jordan, as their ideal. Maybe they knew him, maybe they didn't, but he was more of, I want to be Kobe. So I think it's led to, we had a game here in Oklahoma City on Monday night, and it was really kind of a cloud over the whole thing, as you might suspect. Just really had a tribute before the game, but then it really kind of hung over everything, just in terms of players not seeming themselves, just the energy not there. And I think it's going to be interesting to see in the coming days as, public memorials and those sorts of things. We start to see, the Lakers come back on Friday night. What is that going to look like? What is that going to feel like? I think it's going to be hard in the league for a little while. I don't know what to expect when you start to see some of these more veteran guys get back on the court.
Jen, the one reality that's hanging over us all, he's not coming back. He's dead. And that is so final and so sudden and so unexpected. And he's the greatest living retired guy that's not named Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
You want to put Kareem in there, I'm fine with that. But those are the 3. And so when you look at the total embodiment of Kobe's career, is fused with Shaq, who was devastated, by the way. If you saw him on Inside the NBA, It was hard to watch. His relationship with his contemporaries, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, LeBron, D-Wade, those guys. I've seen those guys up close and personal. I'm going to share a story with you, Jen. I covered the All-Star game in 2010 at Jerry World and wandered into a locker room where I wasn't supposed to be in there. And I stood 5 feet from Kobe, LeBron, D-Wade, Kevin Garnett, and Chris Bosh. And I will listen to them speak as men. They didn't know I was media. They thought I was a coach or an agent. I was in a suit. My media credential was partially obstructed. I got to see them on a personal level, and I shared it with my readers on statesman.com. And these guys loved Kobe. They revered him. And it didn't occur to me to write this in until he died. And I saw clips of him on the Olympic team. And he played in the Olympic team with D-Wade, with LeBron, and guys like that. And that's when it occurred to me that this was bigger than competition. This was camaraderie, and this was love, and this was respect.
Yeah, and I think it really, when you look at the number of tributes and different things that players are doing, whether guys that have been wearing 8 or 24 and, talking about changing numbers. Teams, the Mavericks have said they're retiring the number. Never mind the fact Kobe never played a game, obviously, for the Mavericks. A lifelong Laker was Kobe Bryant. So a lot going on around the league to honor his impact on basketball. I think we could talk for hours probably about him overall. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. A complex figure in many ways, and I think that there's a lot of different things that you can talk about. But when it comes to basketball, this guy was one of the top competitors, one of the top players basketball's ever seen, and I think his impact on basketball, definitely we're seeing just how far and wide that has reached. And, it's unfortunate. It was tragedy that we found this out. I think we knew it to some degree, but it's really presented itself in these days since Kobe Bryant's death Sunday. We're not quite a week past that tragedy, but it will continue. The ripples will continue as these weeks go on.